let's move on now to the Green Bay Packers training camp preview, where Ryan and I, we're going to break down why Jordan Love's development and his building the relationship with all the receivers also that they drafted as well, and who's going to be the top receiver that he likes to throw to, is the top training camp story entering into the Green Bay Packers training camp. But before we break down why, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also ring the bell to get notified when we create new content. We are doing training camp previews for all 32 teams, and also throughout the regular season, we will be doing weekly prediction videos of every single NFL game. So if you want to see the Packers prediction videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also ring the bell to get notified when those videos are released. And Ryan, let's get into it here.
Let's do it.
Normally, so far throughout these training camp videos, we have about 2 or 3 top storylines, trying to focus on one on offense, one on defense. But for me, defensively, not really too much changed for the Packers. It's the same status quo as I think for almost throughout the entire defense. But everything changed on the offensive side of the ball. So starting with who's going to be lining up behind center, Jordan Love, first full year starting as quarterback. They finally drafted a lot of receivers for their quarterback to throw to. Just didn't happen to be Aaron Rodgers, who was the guy that's going to be lining up in center. But it's really just going to be kind of main story just to watch for Jordan.
Yeah.
Love. 4th year into he signed an extension, so it didn't accept the rookie deal, but I think he signed a 2-year contract or extension.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it was weird, but in general though, they gave him a lot of weapons, and I think just kind of started off here as well. It's like Christian Watson is going to be the clear number 1 as of right now, but who do you think is going to turn into the number 2? Do you think it's going to be Romeo Doubs? Do you think it could be one of the tight ends that they drafted? Or
most likely. So one of the things that I found out after looking at their roster, Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs are the most experienced pass catchers on the Packers roster. Robert Tonyan, no longer there. Alan Lazard, no longer there. Randall Cobb, no longer there. So Jordan Love's receivers are either rookies or second-year guys. And so that's just a really interesting kind of thing to watch. Which one does he gravitate to? He hasn't really had a lot of time to really get to know these guys. So that's going to be really interesting. To me, I really liked Jaden Reed, and I think that's probably going to be his go-to guy over the season. Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs to me are more of the outside wide receivers that are more big play threats rather than the go-to possession wide receiver. So it's going to be really interesting watching his progression. It was kind of cool to see the glimpses of him in the stages of his career, because coming out of Utah State, he was you saw all the physical traits. They were all there, but he needed the development, right, to be a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. And he made the one start in Kansas City 2 seasons ago, didn't quite look up to snuff. Then we saw him last year after Aaron Rodgers got hurt in Philadelphia, mind you, the best defense last year. And Jordan Love came in and looked really good.
Amazing.
Yeah, in the 3 quarters. It was 3 quarters, I think, that he played.
And it was the second half. I think
it was the second half.
Okay. A quarter and a half.
Okay. And he looked really good. And so I'm really curious to see in camp. He's going to get all the starting reps. He's going to be first team, and he's going to be the main focal point of this entire team. All the Green Bay Packers reporters are going to be watching Jordan Love throwing the football. And so it's going to be interesting to see what comes out. I'm excited to see his progression as he gets more and more playing time. So I think that's going to be really interesting. I don't think he has the best receiving room. I actually would probably put this receiving room in the lower half of the league. I know Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs showed some promise, but the fact that those 2 guys are your number 1 and number 2 wide receiver most likely is a little frightening.
Well, similar to your example with Jordan Love, I think Watson was kind of the same way. I mean, he came out of North Dakota State, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going up against FCS competition, nothing like what you're going to be going up against in the NFL.
Yeah.
And we see how quick he is, we see how big he is. He just needed a little bit more development with the hands and just his route running. And, I mean, shoot, him in that one game that we mentioned with the Eagles, him and Watson connected on a slant route that – it was a slant route or an in route, which I'm going to guess we're going to see a lot of because Love hit him in stride, and then Watson was the fastest guy on the field. No one was catching up at all. And I think that then you combine that with Jaden Reed in the slot and his route running ability. Romeo Dobbs, I think, is just your consistent guy, and I like him a lot as well. I think he can still improve a little bit, but still has a lot of good potential.
Yeah.
I agree with you that as of right now, rank this as one of the lower receiving rooms. Also, the 2 on the tight end room as well. Drafting 2 rookie tight ends is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So just how that they utilize.
Especially Luke Musgrave only played in like 2 or 3 games last year, and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be very interesting how this offense develops, because that was the bugaboo last year. I think we all realized as the season started is that, when they traded Devontae Adams, now they don't really have anybody to throw to that is scary. Yes, you mentioned Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb last year, but it's like, come on, not really. Now they really have a lot of young guys, So it's going to be interesting to watch. There is going to be a lot of mistakes. And a lot of checkdowns to Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
Yeah, definitely. And the last thing I'll say, this is officially, I think, Matt LaFleur has taken over in terms of being the coach and GM, and his fingerprints are all over this team. And I'm curious to see if this team continues to regress. Do the Packers continue to have Matt LaFleur be their head coach? Because he was the one that drafted Jordan Love. He drafted all these other guys. And so it's going to be really interesting, I think, to watch how this Packers season plays out.
It's going to be interesting. Jordan Love, I think it was a good move. I think Aaron Rodgers, I think he's got one last season left. But I think Jordan Love, though, just with a little appetizer, I think that this could be the real deal. I really think he could be the real deal. Maybe not this year, but over the next couple seasons, I think he can do it. Yeah,
no, and I'm not saying I'm calling for his head. I'm just, if you're looking at this from the outside in, since he's been there, they've kind of slowly regressed. And so it's interesting to see what'll happen if they continue down that path. So I agree. I think it's exciting. They have a lot of really young, talented players who have a lot of potential. So they're one of the more exciting and unpredictable teams because of that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. They could take it to the NFC Championship game again. So
maybe. We'll see.
And then lose. So
lose to the Falcons.
Yeah.
So but before we get too ridiculous, let's go ahead and wrap up the Green Bay Packers training camp preview there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below on what you think of the Packers heading into 2023. Do you think Jordan Love is the future of the Green Bay Packers organization, or do you think he is more of a stopgap quarterback and potentially not going to be there in a few years? Let us know down below. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.